Yesterday, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang officially revealed the new RTX 3000 series GPUs or graphics cards. We had some information confirmed by the leaks, but in some cases, the leaks underestimated the performance gains. Additional features were also introduced for the GTX 900 series, also known as Maxwell, GTX 10 series, also known as Pascal, as well as the RTX Turing and the new Ampere RTX 30 base series GPUs. We have a lot of information and we're going to break it down, but also talk about something that was missed. All sources will be from NVIDIA's website or presentation. You can find all topics in the video description. NVIDIA discussed the achievements of RTX Turing as well as the Pascal architectures. Jensen Huang first discussed the help from many people, including gamers, to help fight the COVID-19 with folding at home projects. It was a great achievement and certainly one that needs to continue. Input latency was discussed, including reaction times with games like Valorant. This led to the first topic, NVIDIA Reflex. Games or software apps supporting NVIDIA Reflex can reduce render latency. According to NVIDIA, Reflex helps synchronize CPU and GPU response times for a more seamless experience. This can help reduce render latency by as much as 50%. Now, if you have a RTX 30 series based GPU, latency could be reduced even further. The minimum requirement, according to NVIDIA, is a GTX 900 series or Maxwell based GPU. You can find more in the video description. NVIDIA has also enabled comments, so you can ask them specific questions. But before asking your question, check the existing comments to see if your question has already been answered by NVIDIA. For anyone still on Windows 7 or Windows 8.1, according to an NVIDIA comment, Reflex is supported by these versions of Windows. System latency was heavily discussed in this presentation. Jensen Huang transitioned to the introduction of new G-Sync technology for 360Hz monitors. You can also use these new monitors to check performance and latency, which saves you from buying a 1000 FPS cam or a mouse. And now this is sick. Asus was the first to provide pricing and availability. Now, manufacturers like Alienware, MSI, and others will eventually make their 336Hz monitors available. Now, I would hold on purchasing a monitor until we can get more reviewers to test these monitors out, and then you can make a decision armed with information. But there is something missing here in this presentation. Where is the 240Hz monitors? I think this is where it can become frustrating because you want to know what the difference is in response times between 240Hz and 360Hz. If you look at this table from this perspective, 1000 Hz or 1000 FPS is measured at 1 millisecond, where 60 Hz and 60 FPS is measured at around 16.67 milliseconds. As you go higher in the Hertz and FPS, you'll notice that the difference becomes much more important, but then at a point it becomes less important. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, if you look at 60 Hz versus 144 Hz, there's quite an improvement as far as responsiveness is concerned. But when you go from 144 to 240, the response time difference is different and it's much smaller. When you go from 240 to 360, it's even less. I don't know, if you think about it, going from a 240 Hz monitor to a 360 Hz monitor, is it worth it? I hope the reflex measurement technology would be brought over for people who have purchased a 240 Hz monitor. If not, could they add support for this later? What do you think? Would you upgrade from a 240 Hz to a 360 Hz monitor? Let me know in the comments. NVIDIA also discussed the NVIDIA broadcast feature. This has potential to be a useful app with noise cancellation and virtual backgrounds. Note the virtual backgrounds usually has a small impact on GPU usage, but it may be non-existent with the 30 series based cards. We'll find out more once the app becomes available. A new tool for AI and video game story technology was introduced called NVIDIA Omniverse Machinima. It's something I cannot fully explain, but the usage of graphics for developers is stunning. You can learn more from the link in the video description. Jensen Huang also talked about DLSS 2.0 4K, the benefits as well as an example in Death Stranding of an image with better rendering than native 4K. RTX dedicated ray tracing or AI cores were also discussed. Noticed a high talking point here about system latency or latency in general? This is the focus of gamers now. Optimization. But we need Microsoft to step it up and get on the same page to improve this further. The new RTX 30 series GPUs will be PCI Express 4.0. An interesting discussion of more CPU cores with data came up. Perhaps this is a prelude to what's in store with AMD and Intel. Or, if NVIDIA acquires ARM, then the CPU core market could accelerate. Needless to say, the new RTX I/O was mentioned to help with this process, but is not supported yet by Microsoft. According to NVIDIA's article, it could be 2021 or even 2022, which means the next generation of cards will have support. I suppose this buys time for Intel as well as Microsoft. Finally, 25 minutes into the presentation, we find out more info on the RTX 30 series GPUs. I honestly like the design of the founders cards versus the AIB card designs, in parts for aesthetics, but as well as the cooling design. We find out the 3080 has almost twice the performance compared to the 2080 and almost 1.5 times the performance of the 2080 Ti. A price of $699 US will be available for ordering on September 17th. The 3070 has the equivalent or slightly better performance of the 2080 Ti, a price of $499 USD available in October. Note, if you're looking for a 2080 Ti, please don't spend any money, as this is supposed to become either equivalent or better. You'll save money, right? And that's important. Finally, the 3090, formerly known as the Titan. The last Titan had a price tag of $2,500 USD, but the 3090 will be available for ordering on September 24th at a price of $1,499 US. Looking at the CUDA cores as well as VRAM, I would estimate this card to be about 75% faster than a 2080 Ti. But speaking of TIs, notice there is no 3080 Ti. In one of the leaks, a 20GB version of the 3080 was mentioned, but not in the slides. If you ask me, I would say NVIDIA is holding for AMD's big Navi, then announce the 3080 Ti after. If you also ask me what the price would be, when the 3080 Ti is announced, I imagine it would be around $1,000. Likely the CUDA cores will be up by 15% than the 3080, but hey, I'm speculating here, and I could be wrong. So what did you think about NVIDIA's announcement? Are you excited? Would you upgrade, or are you waiting for AMD's big Navi or the 3080 Ti? Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Sub if you want to see more videos like this. And would you like to see a deeper dive in some of the upcoming NVIDIA tech? Let me know. Follow me on Twitter at @TheDaveStuff. And if you want to learn more about input latency, you can take a look at a couple of videos here. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.